Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is that you're listening
or watching
this latest episode of TurfCast podcast with me, Joe Redmond, and my good friend who you can hear interrupting me and ruffling around on his chair, Simon Townley. How you doing, mate? All right?
I'm all right, thanks. I don't actually want that to be my sort of segment. I'm actually doing it to mimic you. So it only works when you say it at the same time.
It has become your segment now.
All
right. Right, fair enough. Well, we'll have to put his heads together, as you brilliantly put it off air just then, and come up with a new segment for you. And yeah, we'll do that then. I do, mate. Anyway, all right.
Good, thank you very much. Yeah, all good. It's nice to do it in daylight today. We've had time in the day to do it, so that's nice.
Yeah, well, you're doing all have a bit of a whinge at me, don't you? Saying like, "Oh, can we do it day?" Because it's hard work setting my ring light up, and then the light's bouncing off TV behind me. But we're doing it early today, simply because I want to get it out early. So we're now recording it on Wednesday, and only want to put it out till Thursday morning. But the lucky ones of you will be listening to this potentially on Wednesday afternoon, because I'm going to do it now with Simon. I'm going to get it edited straight away, stick it out on all the podcast apps, simply because Burnley are playing tomorrow at 6. So it'd be daft to put a podcast out on the match day that is dead within 18 hours of being released. So at least this way, I might get 24 hours of relevant listening before it dies. Having said that, we're going to spend a large chunk of this podcast talking about the Arsenal game rather than previewing the Villa game, because that's just the way we do it here at TurfCast Podcast. So, tell you what, before I do this, sorry to interrupt your weird microphone snog. We are, of course, sponsored by Pitch Sports, and as you can see, it is on the bottom of your screen now. It is available to download on the App Store and the Google Play Store. But if you do have an Android and you're thinking, "Oh, I'll download it now," wait, something new's coming out. In fact, no, that's wrong. Download it if you've got it on. I can't remember because they're doing something different. They're doing something new. I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't actually know yet. They've just told me that something's going to happen, but they're going to give me the nod to push it when it's ready to be pushed. However, I know that if you are on Android, they want you to delete the app and re-download it because this is what they said to me. They said you don't have to do that if you're on Apple. If you're on Apple, it'll just refresh. Brand new app. But on Android, no. Apparently, it won't do that. You have to delete it and re-download it for whatever reason. But this is not a technology podcast, but me and Simon are Apple crew, as I'm sure a lot of you are. The sensible ones are. No, I'm joking to those of you. I'm joking to those of you who are Android. I don't want to lose 3 followers. Mind you, it's probably still buffering anyway.
Get it? Because
it's probably still buffering anyway. Right. Anyway. T's and C's done. Everyone download Pitch Sport. Do it now. Let's talk about the Arsenal game. Arsenal 0, Burnley 1. Go.
Another famous, we're only 30s, but another famous victory we've got to see in our lifetime. I think it's the first time since, I can't remember the exact year, but 74 roughly, that we've won away at the Emirates, or Arsenal even. Yeah. What an absolute sort of moment again. It was a shame the fans weren't there to see it, but such a Burnley performance, irrelevant. I hate when Sky Sports do this, but and TV and media, they start going into how shit Arsenal were, but they were well shit.
They were terrible.
They were terrible, and let's be fair, it still could have gone either way. Nick Pope made 3 or 4 unbelievable, vital saves. We missed a header in the first 5 minutes, which I'm sure you'll go into in a minute. But absolute scenes and limbs would have been everywhere at the Emirates should they have been allowed.
Yeah. Let's talk about the performances then before we get on to the negatives. And there is too many negatives, obviously, but obviously we try and be balanced, so we will discuss them. You've mentioned Nick Pope already, so that's a perfect place to start. He had an absolute stormer again, didn't he?
Again is the key word there, my friend. When is Mr. Southgate going to say, do you know what? Time's time. Love that scene. Time's time, Pickford. Pick off.
What's that? Time's time, Pickford.
Time's time. Come on. Off your pop. I think he's just making a massive statement. And then I refer back to what I said before. Southgate said no one's really putting any serious pressure on Pickford. And since that moment, bar the City game, and I'll probably say that fucking for the next 25 podcasts, bar the City game, he's been incredible, mate. Obviously, he didn't play the fucking City game, but there you go. Bar that performance where he wasn't even playing, he's done incredible. He's done really, really well. I'm buzzing. It's good to see another English sort of prodigy that we're creating. That with Dwyer, it's good to see sort of them coming through and making an actual statement on the Premier League scene.
Yeah, I was going to correct you. I was waiting to see if you got it right. I promise.
I was just kind of going into results through my head and then thought, no, actually, he didn't play at all.
But obviously, he had a bit of a stinker against Newcastle. Since then, he has been absolutely superb. He's put it all behind him, and it were a difficult man of the match, Paul. I think this week it'd be difficult for me to even choose 4. Never mind, it's difficult for Paul.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm from Burnley, so I'm elongating my vowels, mate. That's how it works. It's difficult.
I'll probably just say it was a difficult one, Paul. All right, he's Paul.
So it was a difficult man of the match vote. It was difficult for me to choose 4. Never mind, difficult for those of you on Twitter who do follow us on Twitter to actually vote for your favourite. But Paul didn't win it. We'll get into who won it shortly. Another player who didn't win it, but who was fantastic, James Tarkowski.
Yeah. Him, Lawton were sort of stand out at the back for me, other than obviously Pope. They both played fantastic. Well, it's good to see it. You know, he's had his criticism lately as Tarky, and it's not good to see because we do know that he's the best defender we've got, and there's no doubt about it for me. But
in my opinion,
for me, there's no doubt about it. But people will argue the Ben Mee, but for me, that's typified what he's about. You know what I mean? It was solid. Apart from that flat back 4, which drove me mad on the watch along, I mentioned it a few times. That flat back 4, the way City play, the way Arsenal tried to play, as soon as they get to that byline, they cut it back.
Yeah.
And it's just like, right, we've got to defend the shot. But other than that, mate, it was solid. Absolutely solid. Nothing we're getting through, no past them. There were no one-on-one situations. We won aerial battles. There was just that one threat, really. We nullified them.
Yeah, perfect way of putting it. They had absolutely zero. I say zero threat. We've already said that Pope made quite a few saves, but we reduced them to a handful of good efforts when you would think that a team like Arsenal at home would have a bit more than a handful and certainly have enough to score anyway. The entire defence as well. You mentioned Matty Lawton as well. If you want to go into him a little bit deeper, because I know me as well, but me and you both. Sometimes feel like we're having to stick up for Matty because he does seem to get a lot of stick, and he has had some performances where I do sometimes think that he's not playing well enough. But I think there's certain people that sort of like who need to not eat the words, but sort of like say, fair enough. Now he is playing well, but that doesn't seem to be happening just yet. He's still not getting the plaudits that I think he deserves. Some people are seeing it. Some people are saying, he has played well recently. He's been playing really, really well. I say recently, the last 2 games, but that's all you can go off. The last 2 games have been 2 difficult games in Everton and Arsenal. So Matty's playing really, really well at the minute.
Yeah, his fitness is coming back. You can see the difference, and the noticeable differences for me is that venturing forward. He seems to be allowed a little bit more freedom in this part of his sort of play, in this 5 or 6 games that he's played. He seems to be more of a wing back on the attacking role, which is where he's standout anyway. But then his defensive side, the Arsenal game last year, mate, where he absolutely bossed it. It was the best performance, most people will say, in a Burnley shirt. Then last week's were incredible. He was so good. He was 10 out of 10 again defensively and attacking. And then he just continued it this week. So it's good to see. And we've got back up, mate. We've got back up in Barnsley, Peters. He's starting to make a shape again.
Yeah, I think I've always said it, but I think the first 11 and the couple of backups, I'm so confident that team is capable of staying up. It's when you have 3, 4, 5 injuries like we did, that sort of thing can really affect us. And it's coming up to Christmas a bit now, so we might see that again in January, because obviously we have a big flurry of fixtures now, so there might be some knocks, there might be some injuries, might be some hamstrings. Fingers crossed, obviously there isn't. I want to move on to the midfield massive. Another quality performance from Westy. We'll start with Westy. I thought Westy were brilliant. Yeah. I felt that the 2 people I felt most harsh with, the harshest, not including him in the man of the match vote on Twitter. If you want to get involved in the vote, just follow us on Twitter, and we do it every single week if it's with it. Was Wester number 1 and Loughton number 2, but Lawton, sorry, Robbie Lawton. So I felt really harsh not including Wester in that man of the match vote, but Brownhill were just incredible, absolutely incredible. But they were both really good.
When Burnley win, it's never an individual thing. We all just click. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's very difficult to man of the match a team performance anyway. But Brownhill probably deserved it, to be frank. I mean, it's hard to put another 3 next to him, like you said, individuals. But I think, to be honest with you, he was the best player on the pitch. It was just Burnley fans are quite simple fans in respect to what we want. We just want to see something. I know you got to word that correctly. we just want to see. It's obvious, like the Dean Marnie sort of example I like to use a lot. He basically, it might not be the best technical midfielder we've got, but most people would have picked him over people like Stephen Defoe because they want to see someone who's hard at challenging, someone who drives the ball forward, as well as being just a generic midfielder. We actually want to see someone throwing the body on the line. And Joy Barton, Dean Marnie, have we got it now with Brownhill? Because he threw his body in front of a couple of shots on the Arsenal game. Yeah,
there are a few ones where Lacazette would have the ball and he'd be in behind the midfield and coming up towards the defence, obviously in that no man's land between the defence and the midfield. And Brownhill every single time would just get back and tackle him or just muscle him off the ball. It was brilliant. And I do think you're right. I think obviously the Marnie example and the Barton example, that they're like you say, the two sort of like midfielders that they're going to ruffle a few feathers, like you say, not the most technically gifted, especially in Marnie's case, but then they do tend to work perfectly with players like, going back to your example, Stephen Defoe, like a perfect midfield for me is like a creative midfielder and one that's going to, bust a few noses if he needs to. I think we've got that now in Westy and Brownhill. I think Brownhill's the one that will happily just get stuck in and throw his body on the line and get himself hurt if he needs to, and then just get the ball to Westy, and Westy can sort of like get the ball out wide or get it to the front too. So yeah, I think you made a good point there.
Well, just reading now that, he's 24 years old, and we constantly look at Dwight McNeil as the next sort of England thing because he's a teenager. But when you look at the sort of performances that he's putting in, unfortunately, I don't think he'll get in because the midfield is absolutely sort of clustered at the minute with the midfielders that we've got at England. We've got quite a few. But he's doing the best performance that would warrant somebody looking at him, especially for sort of like the next level.
Yeah, I think again the problem is with that, it's a similar sort of position, is it? It's the midfield, so you're going to need people like Grealish to either be massively off form or have a long-term injury, or just be a dickhead and exactly. Or just be a dickhead and do some drink driving and get kicked out of the squad. You could do that if you wanted to. But I think, I see what you mean. It's a shame for Brownhill that there's so many good English midfielders. But I do want to continue talking about Brownhill because he did win the TurfCast podcast, the prestigious TurfCast podcast Man of the Match award this week. And shout out to Josh if you're listening. I know he's not, but he liked the tweet this week when I put out, tagging him in it, saying, "Well done, you're the man of the match." He liked it. So it means enough for him to like it, and that'll do me. So he knows he's had a good performance. He knows the fans are appreciative of that performance, because, like I say, he has liked the tweet. But yeah, he's only going to get better as well. Because, like you say, he's 24.
24 years, yeah. Look, I didn't realise. I'm just looking then on his thing just to see how old he were. But he's from Warrington, isn't he? He's a Northwest lad like myself. So yeah, he's hopefully got him for a while. He's not one of them players that sort of like you think. For example, Nick Pope, we were saying he's not from this area. Would you be tempted? Sean Dash, another example, even though he's not a player, would he be tempted by clubs that are closer to where he's from? So hopefully we can keep hold of him for a long time, mate.
Fingers crossed. Who else played really well? I thought, you know what? I feel sorry for Charlie Taylor because he's just Mr. Consistent every single week. So on a game like Arsenal, when he does put in a standard professional performance like he does every single week, nobody mentions him because everyone just expects it from him now. But again, he's another one that were good. Dwight McNeil.
The thing I'm missing from Charlie is the same I'm missing from Dwight. Is the assists and the build up from midfield. I'm not seeing as many whips from the old Charlie Taylor as we used to see.
Yeah, maybe there's something like you say on the left hand side, but I was just going to mention Dwight, and I do think it was better against Arsenal. He got on the ball more. It's one of them, but I think because of his season when he burst onto the scene, not last season, the season before, he was just getting the ball. He was running at defences and he was whipping balls in, like you say. He was getting assists. He was getting goals. Whereas now he's not getting the assists and the goals as much. But I think the performance was better from him against Arsenal. He was on the ball a lot more. He was creating play a lot more. Like he was creating moves that started off, maybe not getting the assists and stuff, but he was doing the first pass and things like that. So I think the signs are slowly there that Dwight's getting better. But it's one of them. I do think he's a victim of his own success, to be honest, at the minute.
Yeah, it's very difficult, like you said, but it's also the opposite when it's hard when Burnley are winning to pick a man of the match. But it's equally hard to sort of be impressive when the team's not working because we haven't necessarily got them individual stars, and we rely so much on Dwight McNeil to sort of create something when we are down. That if you are a decent scout these days, you just say, right, well, hound him, because if you do that and we're not playing well, that's it. It's game over almost. That's what it feels like anyway at the minute. So he is coming back, but it is probably no coincidence that the team performances are getting better and then he's coming back, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Just before we move on to the fan reaction, because we had a few sent in this week, including an unusual one from someone that goes by the name of Anti-Football. If you haven't already watched...
You said you weren't going to let your Anti-Football come on, man. I'm surprised you let it come on.
Anti-Sue. Yeah, what were I going to say then? Yeah, but I do want to talk about the front two. Now, the tone of voice changes here because they were probably the only people that the front two that started that didn't come out of the game with any real credit. Jay, he didn't do much, but he didn't do anything wrong, really. But Jay, I like Jay when he drops deep into midfield and gets on the ball. Maybe he didn't need to do it this week because West Ham Brown were playing really, really well, so he had to play a different style of game. Who knows? But Chris Wood, obviously, me and you are massive fans of Chris Wood, you especially. I often feel like I'm talking to brick walls when I'm trying to defend Chris Wood and stuff because people just don't get it, I feel. They're always saying, he might score 14 goals, but you get a Vidric team and he'll score 20. No, he won't, mate. He just won't. But he scored 14 goals for the last 3 seasons. That in itself is a brilliant record. But now he's having a bad season. I think it's fair to say now he's probably having a bad start to the season, should I say. He had a bad start to the season last season, let's remember, and still scored 14 goals. But I think this time it's gone on a little bit longer than it did last season. And this time he tends to be missing a few sitters, which is not like him. When he gets a chance, 9 times out of 10, he absolutely buries it. But for some reason at the minute, he's not doing. What do you think it is? I mean, I personally think it's a bit of a confidence thing because he started the season badly. So now it's got into the state where he's snatching at chances probably, whereas he would have just instinctively put them into the back of the net last time. I think the one against Arsenal, I think it comes off his shoulder, doesn't it? It doesn't even connect to it. So maybe he's thinking about it too much. I'm not sure. What do you think?
Maybe. I mean, he did come. I can't say that I agree with it because, I'm sure he'll tell me differently. But he was complaining of someone either not telling him Dwight, not telling him something, or Dwight shouting that he had it. Something, some sort of sign to say that. Anyway, that aside, listen, every single striker in every single club has these moments, either in a season, a whole season. Look at Aubameyang, for example. How much money did they spend on him a week? And he hasn't scored at the Emirates, right? They're still standing by him because they probably know he's the best striker. We're fortunate for the first time in a long time. In fact, I can't think of a time where we've had 4 strikers that we are arguing are all capable of being in that first side. I can't think of a time. None of them are 10 out of 10 strikers. Let's get that straight. But they're all at that like 6 or 7 level. You know what I mean? For a Premier League team, we're missing that star striker. Don't get me wrong, but we're always going to be impatient when you've got so much option. If we had no options, we would be saying, "Oh yeah, he's great, he's missing, but it'll come." But we're unfortunate for him. We have options, so people are starting to say, "Right, well, I want to try another option. I ain't scored in 4 games, or whatever the stats are." So what I'm trying to say is, it's a blessing that we've got this option. But I still think that if you took two strikers off the bench that we're arguing should be in, maybe Barnes and Vidra, people on their side as well, you wouldn't even be contemplating replacing him at the minute, I don't think. I think you're just waiting for that goal to come, because once that snowball effect starts, you should see 2 or 3 goals further than that afterwards.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what happened with him last season, weren't it? He had a bad start. Thankfully for us at the time, Ashley Barnes had a barnstorming start, and he was scoring every single game in the first few games.
Look what they've been saying about him this season. It's just
exactly. So Chris Wood's bad start didn't get as much press and as much negativity from the fans because somebody else was doing it for him. Whereas now, nobody at all is doing it. Nobody's scoring these goals. Even when we get the famous win at Arsenal, they've got to score the goal for us. It is a worry. I'm not going to lie. It is a worry. We need to start burying these chances. We need to start creating a few more as well. Because, yes, Chris Wood is missing probably one sitter a game now, to be fair, which he should be putting away. And Chris Wood would say that himself. So he's only really, got himself to blame for that. But I do think we need to be creating more chances. But then when we get the chances, we do need to put them away. But like you say, it's a snowball effect. For me, he gets that goal again, and he starts playing like he did towards the end of last season.
He scored it at Emirates. You'd have him odds on to get a goal against Villa. You really, really would. Because we're playing better, the performances are coming better, and he's getting these chances. And we say it time and time again, when the chances aren't there, then they panic.
Yeah. Well, that's what me and Simon think of the famous Arsenal win, a very important win at the Emirates, the first time since sometime in the 1970s. We can't remember it off the top of my head because we don't write things down on TurfCast podcast. But obviously, every single week we do have the fan reaction where I get you guys to give me your thoughts of the previous game. And in this case, it's the Arsenal win. So let's see what the Burnley fans had to think about that famous win at the Emirates Stadium.
Very good result. Ridiculously good performance by Brownhill. I think tactically we set them up for a trap, and that was very smart by Dyche. You could tell that we was pressing them because we knew that they were going to play out from the back, which makes you wonder why we don't do that whenever, because it seems to be the modern thing in football now that you've got to play from the back, and if you're not playing from the back, then apparently you're anti-football. Makes no sense to me, but fair enough. So you could see that was a perfect trap that we'd set up for them. First half, I think we did that well, but we just couldn't get the transition in the final third right. Buggery do knows how Wood is still getting a game, because you could see when Vidra came on, even Barnes to a degree, and I've got things against Barnes because I just think he just goes down way too easily. It does my fucking head in. But when Vidra comes on, it makes a difference. He's running in that channel. He's doing much better than Wood does. And I still don't understand why Vidra doesn't get a chance, but I'm not the manager. Dyche might see something I don't. But yeah, Wood has to bury that. Second half, obviously, they kicked on, and the sending off really played into our hands. Very silly thing, but I think it's justice. Justice. We may not deserve the 3 points, but justice.
What a result, eh? Wasn't expecting that. 6-pointer against a relegation rival. I'm happy with that. That was more like what you expect from Burnley. Well structured, well organised, well defending. Just as a side note, I can't believe how poor Arsenal are now, but it's not about them anyway. I just wish the pubs were open, because that's a result to go out and celebrate that. Keep giving us these moments, these boys, don't they? It was United last year, Arsenal this year. We keep getting these milestones. Anyway, it's so good to be on a positive one. Sorry I couldn't be involved in the watch along. I was working at the time of the match, so I watched it on the side, but we'll keep that between us. I think Ben Mee coming back has massively improved this team. And I said earlier on, I think, if the strongest team is available, the strongest 11, we are a good Premier League team, and they are now, and the results have picked up and performances have picked up. And also Westie's brew photos are appearing again. They weren't there earlier in the season, and now they're back. And I think it's no coincidence that when Westie has a brew, Burnley play well. but that was more like what you expect. But I think it shows how undervalued Ben Mee is, that he's come back and all the little mistakes and the panicky defending and the confusion at the back have all sort of gone that were there early in the season. Everyone just looks more composed, from Nick Pope right up front. Everyone just seems more assured of themselves and more confident. And I think it's his leadership that comes in and does that. He's so undervalued. I think everyone's starting to appreciate just how much he brings to this team now. But yeah, we defended well. I thought we were well structured. Didn't have much of the ball, but away from home at Arsenal, you don't really expect to, I suppose. Very few shots and creativity. So the only alarming thing there, I suppose, is the creative thing that's been holding us back this season. The lack of creativity and seems to have started again. But if you don't have the ball, you can't create chances. But I think that'll come. For me, it's definitely got to be Wood and J-Rod up front now. That's it. I think the club's moved on from Barnes a little bit. As much as we love him, I think Jay and Wood just give us that bit more pace and direct play up front, which is what we need. But yeah, everyone just seems reassured. Nick Pope again, a couple of good saves. I think he had a couple of mistakes earlier in the season. I think one was against Newcastle. They seem to have gone now, and he just seems to have picked up from where he left off last year. So everybody's looking good. Brownhill, what a signing that lad has been. I think I tweeted it. I just can't see Jack Cork getting back in the team ahead of him. I think it's going to be his first choice and then sort of rotation between Westy and Jack Cork, because for me, Brownhill's got to be one of the first names on the team sheet. He's unbelievable. But as I say, once the 11 strongest 11's fit, results pick up, performances pick up, and we'll be fine. We're better than a few teams in that league, so I think we are definitely going to. I think we'll be safe. I'm not going to say definite because you never know, but I think we'll be safe, and hopefully start climbing up that table a little bit more. We just need to hope this investment comes in and get some more bodies in. Hopefully not lose anybody. Although I can't see Tarky staying beyond January, but if everyone can stay fit and we can get a few more bods in, maybe this season's not as bad as it started out. Fingers crossed.
Fucking get in, come on! What a win, what a performance. Absolutely amazing, so fucking happy, it's unbelievable. Happy for Dash, big time. Thoroughly deserves that after what stick he's come under. Thought we played really well. You know, obviously the red cards helped. Xhaka, fucking idiot. Thoroughly deserved red card for me. I thought they should have been 9-9, really, you know. I think they've got away with another one there. How VAR not fucking given that as a red card is beyond me, because for me that's worse than the first incident. But yeah, played really well. Joshy Brownhill, fucking hell, what a player! What a player he's becoming in that middle part. Again, head and shoulders above everyone. Just fucking amazing. Just every one of them 1 to 11 were amazing tonight. Pope's made a couple of good stops. I think that's probably the worst Arsenal side I've ever seen. In 30 odd years watching football, that's got to be the worst Arsenal side I've ever seen. I think Arteta's in trouble. I think his days might be numbered after that result. I think that's 4th defeat on trot at home, and then they've lost a couple away. I think they're sliding down. You know, we're not too far away from now. You know, results of. Decent results again for us this weekend. Fulham were winning against Liverpool. They've dropped points. Brighton's been licked away at Leicester. Sheffield United beaten again. They're looking a bad side. I think last season, it was one of them promotion syndromes that teams get. When they come up, they have one good season. I think they're going to be in trouble. But fantastic from the boys tonight, absolutely fucking terrific that performance. Played some good stuff at times as well, defended fucking brilliantly. Tarkowski and Mee again were fantastic. Taylor and Lawton, fullbacks did the job what they needed to, and just brilliant. Just some of Dash's, decisions again. Taking fucking J off, I don't get it whatsoever. Bringing Barnes on, we're playing a lot better football. Vid's good to see Vid's getting a good 20 minutes though. Getting a bit longer. I thought Wood had that chance at, Wood, first off for that chance. He should be making keeper work there. But onwards and upwards now. Yeah, we've got to build on this. It's no good winning now and then getting beat again. Villa away on Thursday night. These games are coming through thick and fast. Villa away Thursday night, another tough day. But we can go there, build on confidence. Full of confidence. We beat Arsenal in their own backyard. Onwards and upwards now. Come on.
Well, you want to start, Heath, or shall I start? Because basically, same old story.
Hang on a minute. New Zealand Clarets checking in. Hello.
Oh, cheers, mate. Yeah, same old story. Arsenal gets the lone goal.
Jammy lone goal. And they win when they don't deserve to.
Right.
Not this time.
No. In their own net. We'll take it.
I'll tell you what, how sweet does that feel? Eh? How sweet does that feel?
Well, it's only been 46 years.
Yes, fantastic.
No, seriously, I thought Pope, magnificent in goal. Okay, so some people would say those are lucky saves where it hits his ankle or hits his arm and all that kind of stuff. The guy makes himself big, and that punch toward injury time or extra time was just magnificent.
He had a brilliant game. Pope was fantastic.
Yeah. So
who else?
I like Brownhill.
Brownhill and Westwood were both superb today.
And so no mysteries with us. Great shape without the ball, and I thought Chris Wood actually had one of his worst games I've seen for a while, and understandably came off. But apart from that, terrific performance. And for me, the most pleasing aspect was after the red card was instead of it continuing to look like the Alamo, and they were the Mexicans, we took the ascendancy.
Totally.
Could have scored on many occasions.
The sending off really changed the game, but not our problem. If they're one of their senior players wants to try and grab someone by the throat and get himself sent off, not our problem. Thank you very much. We'll take advantage of that. And boy, did they take advantage. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And that was a brilliant team performance.
Yeah.
They worked the socks off. In the middle of the park, Brownhill and Westwood worked their absolute balls off. And, the whole team did, to be fair. The work rate was immense. And for us to go and win at Arsenal, absolutely fantastic. Yeah. And it makes all those games that we've lost against them recently, to the odd 1-0, even the more sweeter when we stick it up. They don't like it up their arse, do they?
No, and my phone's going to get very busy. Okay, mate.
Absolutely fantastic. Well done, lads.
Up the Clarets.
Up the Clarets. Goodbye from New Zealand.
Hi Clarets, I'm not just a fair weather supporter, but that was our second win of the season, and this happens to be my second video. Can't begin to tell you what that win means to me, and I'm sure to every other Claret on the planet. But why are we just so chuffed about that win? Well, firstly, it was 46 years ago that we last won away at Arsenal, 1974. I was 20. Peter Noble scored the winning goal. Secondly, we won that game, which was crucial to us, but possibly even more so to them, as Arteta openly admitted before the game. Thirdly, it was great that we not only competed, but beat a team that was obviously immensely more expensive than ours. Willian, who was substituted in the 82nd minute, reportedly on £220,000 a week. And last but not least, it certainly avenges at least partially the ridiculous last-minute robberies that Arsenal have got away with against us in recent years, including the handball offside goal in 2016. I was actually in Tenerife watching that game with a handful of Deadwood Park supporters, and I certainly got some grief after the game, so at least this result partly puts that to bed, especially in view of their unfortunate result at the weekend. As for the man of the match, the defence was brilliant, but we've come to expect that of them, and this game in particular was, I believe, won in midfield. We had their star players rattled on the ropes and ultimately knocked out. Man of the match, Josh Brownhill, Burnley Bale. He's one of those players that's not sure of the whys and wherefores, but we do tend to get the best out of incoming players. And Josh has taken to the culture of the club. He's improving every game. And I think before long we may well be giving the manager that nice feeling of having to choose between players on form rather than simply on availability. The next game, of course, Thursday evening against Aston Villa. Not very much time to recover, but I think this result on Sunday will certainly give us the confidence to get something out of that game and then move into the busy Christmas period. Leeds United being the highlight of that, and I think will be a good litmus test of the building process. So it's onwards and upwards, Clarets. Have a very Merry Christmas and hope to see you very soon. Bye for now.
Hey up lads, how you doing? Anti-football here. So 3 points, how about that eh? Good stuff. Up the Arsenal. Up the Arsenal we do it. About time we got one against them, ain't it? Bloody hell. No bloody last minute penalties or handball or any of that nonsense. 3 points. Good stuff, good stuff. Great performance all round from lads. Really proud of them, really proud of them. Hey, but Woody. Gotta be sticking them chances away early on, haven't they? Last season, he were putting them away for fun. Don't know what were going on there. Dwight were in his ear maybe because he had a little word with him afterwards. Don't know whether Dwight said, leave it, and that put him off. But anyway, no bloody excuse. Should be making keeper work. At least making keeper work. But to put it wide. Anyway, turned out alright, and that's the main thing. That's the main thing. And what else? Oh, Shaka, bloody Shaka, what a clown, eh? What a clown, but good stuff. Glad he did it. Turned game in our favour, didn't it? Shaka, what an idiot. And his mate, I don't know what his mate were up to. Hey, he should have been off and all. Hey, I don't know. So, let me get this right. 1 hand to throat means you get sent off. 2 hands to face, you don't get sent off. Who's making these rules up? They make it up as they go along, these bloody officials, I don't know. Anyway, not to be bloody moaning now. We won! We bloody won! Up and out at relegation zone. Onwards and upwards for Clarets now. We've turned the corner. Anyway, just want to give a shout out to Heath down there in the upside down onto the side of Planet. I've seen he posted a couple of fan reviews on here, so I thought I'd chirp up myself. So yeah, known that lad since he were knee-high to a grasshopper. Allus been Claret through and through, and good to hear he hadn't lost his Lancashire accent and all. And you boys, as for you boys, doing a cracking job on this here TurfCast. Great stuff, love it. Keep up the work, up the Clarets. Ta-da!
Right, so that was this week's fan reaction. Big shout out to everybody who got involved. Even those of you who sent it in later, Robert Benson, I'll still get you involved in the podcast if you do want to send it in. If you send it in later, for example, you miss the actual fan reaction video, I can still get you involved in the podcast if we do it like that. Now, this week, we had so many people getting in touch, I will have had to cut some people's fan reactions down for the podcast, but the full version, if you haven't seen it yet, is on YouTube if you want to see your own full version on YouTube. And shout out to Anti, I need to say Anti-Sue. Shout out to Anti-Football, not me, Anti-Sue. Yeah, what did I sent you Anti-Football, didn't I, Simon? Let's discuss Anti-Football then. What did you make of Anti-Football and their opinion?
She's got a good point, mate. You know, she's full on. Yeah, she nailed it. She does a better job than us.
Yeah, well, I won't go that far, but yeah. I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I know the person who sends it in, who I don't know who it is because it's like behind a weird sort of like Twitter account where you don't know exactly who it is. I know they listen to the podcast, and it's one of them things that you watch and you're both laughing and cringing at the same time.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I would do. Like when it come in, I'm like, who's this? Like a weird email address. It weren't anti-football. It was something like a few letters and stuff. It said fan reactions. I'm like, oh, this is a new person. Clicks on it. Then this image of like David Luiz with a handbag and a Burnley crest behind it. I literally just went, what the fuck is that? And then it started talking. And honestly, I were at work. I'd say at work. I was sat here, but you know what I mean, working. And I was laughing my head off. Honestly, I was belly laughing and then cringing and then going, oh no, this is cringing. And then I was laughing. Honestly, I didn't know what emotion to feel.
We'll see what the fans' reaction to the fans' reaction is. Let's see what they say.
That's a good one. Let me know what you thought of anti-football. That is the next one. Get in touch. Let me know what you thought of anti-football. Someone else did get in touch. Heath from New Zealand Claret, so you will have just seen on the fan reaction. And I think it just said, I think his text message just said, I can't remember, just said something like anti-fucking football or something like that. I can't remember exactly. I can't get it up, Abdul. I think I can't find it. But yeah.
I think I'm still low.
It's on WhatsApp, you get too many threads. So I just always get rid of them. They do make it on WhatsApp, but it's good that Heath and that chats to me. I like it. But yeah, right. Well, as usual, I've got to mention Pitch Sport again. I will be uploading this week's Fan Time video to their app over the next couple of days. I'm probably going to wait till after the Aston Villa game this week. So if you listen to this on Wednesday or Thursday, I will be uploading it probably Friday morning or Friday afternoon. So get out and put your answers on there to that video, please. And hopefully Pitch Sport will send me an image that I can actually promote it with this time, because they forgot last time and we didn't get as many answers on this week's because of that. But hey, they're our sponsors. No, I'm joking. They are not shitbags. This is a terms and conditions post comment where I say they are very good people who run a very good app. There you go. Aston Villa game. Let's talk about that. I'll have a quick preview of the Aston Villa game. Apologies that this podcast is going to be a little bit shorter, I think, but it's because of the quick turnaround in games, and it's probably going to be the same before the Wolves game next week. But the Aston Villa game, they have had a very good start to the season of Aston Villa. So I think it's fair to say that it's going to be a very tough game for the Clarets. I will just quickly get the Premier League table up. But while I do, their last game was an impressive win against Wolves, a 94th minute penalty.
They won 6, lost 4. But in that run, they've had 5 wins on the bounce straight away, beginning of the season, lost 4 in a row, and then they've won a derby. And we all know anything can happen in a derby against Wolverhampton. So it's hard to judge where they are at the minute because, again,
I'll tell you where they are. They're 11th.
I know where they are in the table, you think. I mean, if you look at where they were with 4 defeats prior to that Wolves game, you're 100% going in after the back of a draw with confidence.
Can I just point out? I'm looking at their results now. They beat Wolves, then they lost against West Ham, lost against Brighton at home, which is a shambolic defeat. Let's get that straight. That is a shambolic defeat, losing to Brighton at home. But beating Wolves at Wolves, that is an incredible victory. So I see what you're saying. This 4 on the bounce thing, I don't know where that's come from, because then they beat Arsenal 3-0 at Arsenal. We've all beat Arsenal at Arsenal. There's not to brag about. Then they got beat against Southampton 4-3, so they clearly leaked goals. They lost against Leeds 3-0. Who doesn't score against Leeds? Then they beat they beat Leicester at Leicester. That's another good win. So I understand what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. It's very difficult. There's some very good wins in there, and there's some very poor defeats in there.
Yeah, and like I said, if they'd have drawn against Wolves instead of getting that last minute thing, and the reason I bring it up is because a draw and then our win at Arsenal, I genuinely think, we're going to look and smash them. But the buzz of getting a last minute winner against your rival, one of your rivals, because they've got fucking loads down there, is he's got. You don't know where they're at now, mate, because Grealish is in the news for negativity. Star player, mate. Return of Heaton in goal soon. I'm hearing, that Martinez is doing well, so then there's 2 people fighting for that position. Results are all over the place at the minute. Where they're winning games you wouldn't imagine and losing games they should be winning. So it's so hard to gauge where they're at. But where we're at, if we fucking beat Arsenal.
Yeah, true. They've also beat Arsenal. But I understand what you're saying. It depends which Villa turns up by the sound of it. And we can say the same about Burnley. We've had some absolutely horror shows this season. Ours doesn't seem all over the place like theirs. Ours is shit start, and now we're coming back. So I think Burnley will turn up to this game, and I think we could see something similar to the 2-2 down there last season. I'm thinking another draw. I say another draw because I predicted a draw.
Because I was at that game last year, and they were the better side. If we're honest, we took our chances. They actually scored a third, but it was disallowed for marginal offside. It wasn't miles offside, but it was offside at the end of the day. So they did turn us over. They absolutely turned us over at the Turf on New Year's. Yeah,
they absolutely. I think if you have to be honest, we were dreadful that game. But Grealish ran the show. That was the problem. Grealish absolutely bossed that game.
So that my concerns are that looking at the two performances against them, they come out on top from last season. So it's all about where they're at as much as where we're at the minute, to be honest with you. Because if they're on song, I'd be worried. I'd be worried that they're going to beat us.
Yeah, like I said, I think we agree. It depends which Villa turns up, but I do think Burnley will turn up, and for that reason, I'm going to go 1-1. However,
for that reason, I'm out.
And just before I want to get your prediction, one battle I am very interested and looking forward to seeing is Josh Brownhill against Jack Grealish. I think that is going to be where the game is won and lost.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, two completely different players. You got a number 10 flair player, and then you've got like a grafter. So I'd have a Grealish in my side. Let's put it that way.
Oh, yeah. I think everybody would rather have a Grealish in their side than not, even Manchester United player. And I remember the start of the podcast last season, I was saying, he hasn't done it in Premier League yet for me. I've not seen much, but he's done it in Premier League now. So I'm happy to say, yeah, he is absolutely class. And I do think he should be in the England squad. Never mind in the Man United. We should be building him. We should be building the England squad around him.
I buzz off Grealish. I said it last year. I said it at the beginning of this season beginning of last season's podcast when we were saying about Villa coming up and could he go? I'm like a big fan of him. I said it there and then. So it doesn't surprise me that he's doing well. But I'm excited to see if this feud continues between Mears and Tarky. Do you remember, obviously,
Mings?
Mings, sorry. That's Mears, fucking hell. He got called for England. Tarky didn't. He went through the back of Tarky. Tarky nearly broke his bloody leg somehow. I don't know how you can tackle someone and come out injured, but there you go. So, yeah, he went through the bat and then Tarky gave him shit. A little bit of a bantery sort of feud, maybe. I don't know what it is, but I'm excited to see if that continues.
It's one of them, though, isn't it? I think most Burnley fans will say that Tarkowski's the better player. Most Villa fans will probably say that Mings is the better player. But I think for me, Tarky is by far and away the better defender. If you want a defender in your side, you're going to choose Tarky. If you want someone who thinks of the midfielder in your side, you're going to choose Tyrone Mings.
He's a good pass for the ball, I must admit.
And that's what Southgate seems to like.
Yeah, and he likes playing a back three, doesn't he, as well, and he fits that well. I'm excited to see it. I want Burnley to come out on top of this one. We've got some unfinished business from last season for me. I think there's that January performance, January the 1st, I think it was New Year's Day this year. It was New Year's Day. It were a shambles, and I want to see a bounce back from that.
Prediction then?
Oh, I'm finding it difficult to think that they will not score because they've got goals in them. They've got Watkins up top. Tom's a big fan of him. I spoke to Tom Eaton about sort of like the Villa side a couple of weeks ago and where they're at, and Tom's a big fan of him. Grealish, who can create anything from nothing. And then even the fringe players, like they're coming off the bench. It's that squad depth that we always win that we don't have. So I do think they will score. If we're going to win, if it's going to have to be 2-1 at least. I think they could score 2, especially at home. So I'll take a Desmond, but I'm hoping a 2-1.
I'm going to go for 1-1. I just can't see us scoring too many goals, but we are better defensively now than what we were at the start of the season. So I do think we can keep them down to 1. But another thing I do want to quickly mention before I go, because I know you want to shoot off, but you mentioned Ollie Watkins, and we were rumoured to be after him. And this week, Sean Dyche has admitted that we were after him. So it's another classic case of Burnley seeing how good a player is in the Championship, and then the board not backing the manager with enough funds, and then this person going on and being absolutely fantastic at another club.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I haven't seen him play live too much. I don't really watch Villa on the telly at the minute. But from what I'm hearing, he's a pretty decent player. You know, he's thought highly of in the camp. He's on form in the last few games anyway. He's played well. He is a threat, but he's a different type of threat. He's a type of threat that gets in behind, not necessarily the way we're not going to play that high. So hopefully we can manage it. But yeah, against the Citizens and the like, who play past your halfway line, he's a real threat. Good player.
Fingers crossed, like you say, we're keeping quiet. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
No, I mean, going out in it Thursday night might all be irrelevant. Everything we just said about the time some people listen to it might have already fucking happened. But let's hope we get a win. Let's hope we keep this momentum going. We haven't spoke about the next game, which is Monday, I believe.
Yeah, we'll be doing a podcast in between Villa and Wolves. Yeah, we will be doing one. And if you can't do it, I'll do it on my own. We've done it before, but I'm sure you, I'm sure you'll be free. If you listen on the podcast, you wonder why I just laughed my head off. Basically, Simon flipped me the bird, as the Americans call it. But yeah, we'll wrap up then. Thank you to everybody for watching or listening. If you don't follow us on any of the social media channels, they are on your screen below now. But if you listen on the podcast, I will read them out for you. It's TurfCast Podcast on Twitter, TurfCast Podcast on Facebook, TurfCast Podcast on Instagram, and TurfCast Podcast on YouTube. Quickly before I go, we are on 198 subscribers on YouTube. We are 2 away from 200. So if you're listening to this and you don't already subscribe to us or watching and you don't already subscribe to us on YouTube, go and give it a subscribe, and then we will probably hit 2 before the Wolves game. But thanks for listening / watching, and we will see you for a watch along on Thursday, which I won't be available for, but Simon will. Thank you. Bye-bye.